Hey everybody! So one of the most frequently asked questions I get on Instagram is how to stay focused while practicing. Ironically, most of us are probably turning to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, maybe even this video as a distraction from our practicing right now. Here's a secret. I deal with this too. There are times when I get super distracted while I'm practicing, and while I don't claim to have all the answers to the problem, I do have a couple tips which I personally use to help me stay focused while I practice. So the first step is identifying the source of the distraction, and for a lot of us, it's this thing. We're all guilty of it, I certainly am, of checking our phones all the time. On the new iPhone update, there's a new feature called Screen Time, which lets you know how many minutes you've used your phone and how many times a day you've opened it. It also breaks down your time usage by individual apps and app categories and shows you a daily and weekly chart of all these numbers. And by the way, if you don't use iOS, there's an app called Moment, which does exactly the same thing. Anyway, the first time I checked out my screen time report, I freaked out. All those times we unlock our phones just to check Instagram or answer a text or Google something random that's popped in our heads. I do this one a lot. All those minutes here and there add up, and they take a chunk out of your practice time and your whole day actually. Once I realized that my phone was the #1 thing distracting me, I took a few actions to keep it from interfering with my practice sessions. One simple thing I do is I always turn my phone to airplane mode when I'm practicing so I don't get distracted by incoming notifications. But if that's not enough, I personally find that one of the best things to do is to just not have it within arm's reach of where I'm practicing. You know how people say out of sight, out of mind? I find that if I can't reach my phone or see it while I'm practicing, I'm less tempted to pick it up. Sometimes when I'm really unfocused, I even put it somewhere very out of reach, like on top of a shelf or in a cupboard or even in another room, like the bathroom or kitchen, because I know I'm not going to wander over there while I'm practicing. Another thing to keep in mind is that the distraction can also be a behavior or habit. For example, I used to have a problem with snacking. I would constantly take breaks every couple of minutes to stand up and go get a snack. Then I realized that I was practicing right next to my kitchen, where I subconsciously knew there was a lot of delicious food in the fridge. So again, out of sight, out of mind. I just moved my whole practicing setup to my bedroom and I never thought about food again. Actually, that's not true. I think about food all the time. But I don't get up to snack every 10 minutes anymore. So this next thing I do is a little bit more extreme. If I still can't focus and I keep on getting up to do something else, I just replace one behavior with another. Some days when my concentration is just not there and I know that no matter what I'm gonna keep on getting up and taking breaks, I stop trying to fight with myself and just accept it. But I don't let myself be unproductive during those breaks. Instead of scrolling through Instagram or snacking, I try to do something productive instead. For example, a 5 to 7 minute break is a perfect opportunity to squeeze in a mini workout. I usually have a yoga mat near me, so instead of picking up my phone, I'll do a plank or some push-ups or burpees or Russian twists. Sometimes if I'm really unfocused, I'll make myself do one round of one of Kayla and Sini's BBG workouts, which are all 7 minutes each. The cool thing about this is that if you do this 4 to 5 times a day, you'll basically do a full body workout without even realizing it. Plus, exercise increases oxygen and blood flow to the brain, which means that when you do go back to practice, you'll be even more focused. Another thing I sometimes do is just read for a few minutes. A lot of people always ask me how I manage to read so many books in a year, and the secret is that I always have ebooks on my phone. So whenever I'm stuck in line somewhere or in transportation or taking a break from practicing, which are all moments when we tend to reach for our phones, I just open up my Kindle or my Libby app and read a few pages instead of scrolling through social media. So the cool thing about this is that, like the mini workouts, if you do this consistently, before you know it, you'll have read an entire book. I personally managed to get through about 1 to 2 books a week just by reading in all these little moments when I have nothing to do. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're gonna be distracted anyway, at least make it a good distraction. Thanks so much for watching. I hope some of these tips help you. I'm actually making another video next week also on how to stay focused while practicing. So if you want to watch that one, hit the subscribe button below and you'll get a notification when it's out. And meanwhile, you can keep up with what I'm doing on facebook.com/SophiaBaslar and instagram.com/SophiaBaslar. Bye!